Have you ever stopped and wondered what's really going on behind the scenes of your favorite delivery app? Well, today we're going to dig into this really fascinating paper from the Sosyal Mucit academic review. And it challenges, well, everything we think we know about innovation and the real cost of all that convenience in the apps we use every single day. I mean, think about it. Tapping a button and having food or groceries just show up. It feels like magic, right? It's the absolute peak of modern convenience. But this paper argues there's a serious hidden cost to that magic, and it's a cost that goes way, way beyond the price on your receipt. So let's pull back that curtain. So what is that hidden cost really? The research points to a whole system of tech innovation that, especially in the gig economy, is built on this fundamental and often totally invisible imbalance. And we're not just talking about tough working conditions here. The source highlights a whole system of really negative consequences. You've got increased worker exploitation and accidents, huge environmental waste, technology that's being used to control people instead of empowering them, and even animal exploitation. And who's really benefiting from all this? A handful of billionaires whose wealth just keeps multiplying, while the system itself promotes these really imbalanced relationships that hurt workers, nature, and even technology itself. And this is where it gets really deep. The authors argue that these problems aren't just some flaws in a business model. They're actually symptoms of a much bigger philosophical issue. The root cause is this deeply ingrained belief that everything, nature, technology, even other people, is just a resource for humanity to use and exploit. So to really get to the bottom of this, we need to talk about the invisible philosophy that kind of shapes our whole world, humanism. For centuries, this has been the dominant idea, right? It's positioned humanity at the very top of this pyramid. It's what's called an anthropocentric or human-centered viewpoint. And it creates these hierarchies that have been used to justify the exploitation of pretty much everything else. And the result of that? Well, it's a world that's dangerously out of balance. This human-centered view creates a massive, massive power imbalance, where everything else is seen as little more than just a resource for us to use up. Okay, now this slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? The contrast is so stark. On one side, you have that old humanist model, a strict hierarchy with humans right at the top. But on the other, you have a post-humanist model that sees humans not as rulers, but as just one part of a balanced, interconnected network. Right, so if humanism is the problem, what's the solution? This is where the paper proposes a really powerful alternative philosophy, post-humanism. And let's be super clear here. This is not about being anti-human. It's about being more than just human-centered. It's a philosophy that really critiques that old pyramid structure. It accepts all living things as equals, and it tries to be the voice for nature, for animals, and for all those non-human organisms that just can't speak for themselves. So at the very heart of post-humanism, there's this single driving principle. And it replaces that idea of domination with something way more sustainable. And that is the principle of coexistence. It sounds kind of lofty, but it's actually this simple, yet totally revolutionary idea that we can, and we must, design our world around mutual respect. The goal is a peaceful, balanced, and sustainable existence for everyone and everything involved, humans, nature, and technology. And here's the thing, the paper points out that this isn't just some abstract theory stuck in an academic journal. This shift in thinking is a demand that's getting louder and louder in social movements all across the globe. You've probably heard of some of these, right? From Extinction Rebellion, who are out there protesting ecological destruction, to Greta Thunberg's Fridays for Future, demanding science-based climate action, to the Gezi Parka movement in Turkey, which was defending green space from urban destruction. You know, these movements are all showing this growing public desire to just shift away from these purely human-centered, profit-driven decisions. Okay, so what does this all mean in practice? How can we take this philosophy and actually use it to fix the problems in the gig economy that we started with? Well, this table, based on the paper's analysis, it shows a really clear pathway. Just look at the difference. The current model, it leads to exploited workers, massive waste, and technology being used for control. But the post-humanist model, it imagines a world with fair and dignified work, ecological sustainability, and technology that promotes the well-being of all life forms, not just a few billionaires. It's a totally different goal. And you might be thinking, okay, that sounds nice, but it's a total fantasy. But get this, it's not. This shift from just theory to actual practice is already starting to be written into the laws of entire nations. I mean, check this out. Ecuador's constitution now recognizes that nature has rights. Bolivia has enshrined these rights into their laws. And in New Zealand, the Wanganui River has been granted the exact same legal rights as a person. This isn't just theory anymore, it's actually becoming law. So, when you boil it all down, the crucial takeaway here is that creating this better future isn't about tackling these issues one by one. The authors argue that it requires us to see how deeply interconnected they are. Social movements, environmental action, and technological development all have to work together. And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought. As our technology gets more and more powerful, we are facing a fundamental choice. Are we going to keep building a future based on that old pyramid of hierarchy? Or are we going to have the wisdom to design one based on coexistence? Really, the choice is ours.